Now, I was just reading this article in the newspaper entitled Ottawa Unveils Name-Blind Hiring Plan for Public Service. The federal government will be testing whether hiding the names of job applicants would improve its hiring practices in what it calls an effort to strengthen diversity and inclusion in the public service. In other words, applications won't show any names of the applicants because the hiring board, perhaps subconsciously, looks at a name and applies some sort of a bias to it. Now, in a way, I think that's a really good idea, because if you have a name like Smith or Jones, it's for sure you're not going to get the job. So, no names will appear on the applications. As a matter of fact, it says there won't be any identifying information. Because if there is identifying information, there might be bias against people who have diverse ethnic or cultural backgrounds. So, actually, in this regard, there's no sense, I suppose, showing your education either, because if you refer to your education, PhD, you're going to have to refer to the university where you got it. And if it's in another country, bias again. Besides which, not everybody in the world has access to education. So therefore, it would really show bias if you chose an applicant based on education, because not everybody has education that's available. And that would be, in a way, discrimination, discriminating against people who didn't have a good education because it wasn't available. So I think we can eliminate education from the application. And in the same way as education, I think experience should be thrown out too. Because experience is the same as education in that sometimes it's not offered to other people from perhaps other countries, or not only that, if they did have experience and they showed where they had experience, then once again, bias sets in, unconscious bias sets in. In other words, you can't give personal information, bias. You can't give details with regard to your education or lack of, bias. You can't give any information with regard to your experience or lack of, bias. You certainly can't mention age or gender. So I would think that in order to have a completely unbiased choice of an applicant, you would just have to randomly pick an application. Close your eyes, just pick an application. Or else if you can't show any personal information, education, experience, gender, age, we're going to end up with an application like this. So, if all these applications are submitted like this, there's no sense picking one, because you wouldn't know how to get in touch with this applicant. So the federal government has a solution. They simply hire everybody. They've got enough money.